All right, guys, welcome back to another part. So in this one, we are gonna actually finish our material, and it's gonna be really fun. So once we have the patterns that we made and the final color, which we talked about in the previous part, so I've outputted that as a dot, and then and that is base color, and we're just gonna use this at the end. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool. Um, to make the surface of a carpet, it's pretty simple. We have to understand that this is made up of strands, and so we're gonna try to make something like this in height first, and then the roughness and everything else will come after that. So first, let's create only one strand of this. So we're gonna try to make this in the height. So let's start with um, what matches with the shape of a thread. Let's see. So I'm gonna take a shape node, and in this one I'm gonna just make it like small, and the size I'm gonna reduce the x of this to something like this, I think. And yeah, that's our strand, right? But not quite. So then we're gonna take bevel. You could take either blur, I think, but bevel works better in this case. And I'm gonna put something like this. And now, do you see this kind of? You can feel this. There's a line here, right? So you can increase the smoothing, and that will start to disappear. So now it's kind of a blurred version of our strand, right? And that's good. That's actually what we wanted. But I want to kind of have it raise up from the ground. So to do that in height, you're gonna have to have the bottom part darker than the the upper part. So to do that, we're just gonna blend it. I'm gonna multiply it with a gradient. So let's take a linear gradient. Yeah, this one, and just let's multiply it. And that's exactly what we wanted. So this way it will come out from beneath the surface, and that's what we want. The next thing is the if you think about it, the strand is actually a woven thing. So the carpets are woven with strands, but those strands itself, they are like they're kind of like a rope, if you can think about it. So so let's make it look like that. So we're gonna take stripes, and I'm also gonna bevel that as well. I'm gonna reduce the distance. I'm trying to get an evenness here, and not this without the sharpness. I think that, so that looks okay, I think. But I think there should not be an absolute black color here. Let's just take it something like 0.35, 0.34 or 3. Yeah, that's good. And I'm gonna multiply it with this. I'm gonna multiply our strand with, and now that has that spiral woven kind of feel to it. And I could use this, but I think it's too straight. So I'm gonna actually warp it with a really big Berlin noise. Let's take a warp, a multi-directional warp grayscale. I think that should work. I'm gonna put Berlin. Pollen is really good if you want like overall swivelness to your um, warp. And like something is happening, but let's try to increase. I think intensity is too low. We could increase that to maybe something like 40. I think it would be better if we did this in the original shape here. So let's try that. Yeah. Okay, so we have to set the mode to chain, and then that will work. Cool. All right. So now that we have this, we can continue to make our we can continue to actually populate this onto a surface. So let's try that. I'm gonna actually minimize this. Yeah. So let's try that. I'm gonna take a tile sampler, right? I'm gonna put this in the input pattern one, right? We're gonna use the pattern input for this. All right, cool. We need an insane amount of this for this to work. But before that, let's just put the size to absolute. Yeah, I don't want to change. I don't want it to change the size dependent on the amount of the strands. So let's do something like 360 by 360. Let's see how that works. Now, I know this looks really bad, but let's take a pull. Let's put this in the rotation map input and see what happens. Right. So the rotation map multiplier, that gave us a really weird result. Rotation random. Rotation random started to give us something, but rotation map multiplier actually gave us that like low frequency variation in the direction of our strands. So that's good. Also, I think we should reduce the number. I cannot see the full strands, so let's do like 150 by 150. Yeah, now I can see the those, but I think they are like the position of these is still to like to grid like. So I'm gonna break that. So let's just put some position randomness. And that will break that grid like pattern. I think it's a bit too much, so I just wanna, yeah, that's better actually. Now cool. I think we could also put this in this Berlin noise in the scale map input. Let's see what happens. Scale random a bit, right? And scale map multiplier, and that will start to give you that um you know those variation in size, and that will really help that carpet look. So that's really cool, right? Let me increase the number now because we have too many gaps here. So let's do back to 300. Nice. Okay, so I know we are starting to see the Berlin noise, but that's only because it's affecting it in certain ways. So so yeah, I think we could use it. I want my I want the gradient to be like kind of crunched. So I'm gonna level it a bit. That will help the strands to rise um, a bit higher. You can see how it affects the strands, right? So that's our strands here, and that's really it, because you can just play with the numbers and get a better result if you want. But these are the core settings that you're gonna have to change in terms of to get that carpet. So awesome. All right, let's move on to integrate our color, and let's create an actual material for this. So I'm gonna take a base material, and to apply this onto our 3D surface, even though let me warn you, the look will not be as good here, because the rendering should be done for this carpet in another software. So but for previewing purposes, let's put it on here. So if you don't know how to do that, just right click and hold and drag it onto your cube. Now, you notice there are no inputs in this base material. That's because in the settings, user defined maps, all of these are false. So we're gonna have to turn them on one by one. Let's turn on height and let's turn on normal now. So I'm gonna put this as my height one, because I already have a height. I've already made this entire thing, but yeah, I'm gonna put this as height, and I'm gonna put a normal map here. And that will give me a normal. This is it's not a good normal, to be honest. So that's the reason. That's a particular reason that we won't get to see that kind of polished result here. It's just for a kind of a preview of what's gonna happen. So you can see we are gonna have a lot of detail in that in the carpet. So all of these are strands basically. Now, in the normal, they look nothing like strands. So um, you might wanna ignore the normal for now. Yeah. Okay. Also, let's the metallic we don't want. This is not a metallic thing. Um, so yeah, cool. Now let's work on the color a bit, and yeah. Awesome. We have our height. Now I'm gonna take a dot node. I'm gonna call my base color here. Now, if you plug this directly here, like if you go into the material and enable base color and put this here directly, now you can see that okay, like to be honest, the roughness is also not correct. So you'll see, okay, we are getting something that looks something like a carpet, but it's too clean. Like it's something is wrong with it. Um, so the thing is, the color, while it has the patterns, it doesn't have the look of a carpet. So we're gonna change that. First of all, you see these borders are too clean, and that never happens in a carpet. So we're gonna warp it a bit with um we could warp it with our height map. Let's try. And let set the intensity to a really, really low amount, 0.01 or something. That works. That actually works. So we can use that for the color, right? Now you see how much of a difference that one step made here. So now it actually follows the look of being woven on a carpet. So that that actually that step alone gave it a lot of look of a carpet. So good, that's good. So if you ever see this kind of big connections, try to use the dots. So I'm gonna use the dot here, right? One, right? Cool. Now we can do something else to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to have kind of an ambient occlusion baked into the color. So to do that, let's add a blend. I'm gonna use the height only. Let's take an ambient occlusion node. If that doesn't work, we'll use a height only directly. So radius, let's reduce. No, radius, let's keep. Height, depth, let's reduce. And so that will give you that ambient occlusion for this 16 samples. Yeah, we want something high quality. So that's that radius. Let's what happens? Nothing happens. Height, depth. I'm gonna choose a lower value for this. Something like, yeah, that works. I'm gonna multiply it with, oops, let's take a gradient map to convert it into a color, and we can multiply that. And now once we plug this, take a look, and that's our carpet, right? Awesome. Oh, really, really awesome, right? Now this is kind of where we can call it done, because see, look at this. Just look at this, right? It's a really, really nice result that we have reached here, right? Now to further enhance, let's for the PBR workflow, we also need to think about other things like roughness. So let's do that. But before that, I also want to, like, just for our technicality, I want to add some effect of the color to the height, but that can't happen because the height is also uh, taking part in the um, colors generation. So like this output here. So that will become a cyclic dependency. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take our patterns, right, and I'm going to take them all together, right? So I have all my patterns already here. So let me just blend them real quick. Set this to screen, right? I'm going to copy this node just now. So let's take our all of the primary, secondary. I'm going to choose another blend node here, and our all of the patterns that we have, right? Yeah. Now we can reduce uh, the effect of some patterns to, but basically that's all we want. So I'm gonna put this, and I'm gonna name this like overall pattern. So let's use this in the height. So I'm gonna use a blend node. I'm gonna put it to screen, and I'm gonna use the same warping technique that we did here. So let's put let's copy this warp, and let's put our let me call our overall pattern here. We'll use this, and we're gonna do the same thing that we did for the color. And I'm gonna put this here, and I'm gonna put the opacity like this, uh, just a bit, just a bit, just so that the height is not that bland. It has some effect of the pattern. So just to do that, and I'm gonna put this here, right? And so we have our result here, but still we need to talk about the roughness. So roughness is actually pretty simple. Where do I put this? Yeah, I can just use this idea. Yeah, awesome. So that's that. You can see this the pattern is starting to show up in the normal as well. Now for the roughness, let's start with a uniform color. It's gonna be similar of how we build the color. So we're gonna take something uniform and we're gonna blend to it, basically. So I'm gonna take a whitish value only. Yeah, I'm gonna convert this to grayscale, right? And I'm gonna invert this, because a really neat way of making a roughness is if you take the color and just invert it. That works 90% of the time. So um, invert, yeah. Or at least you can start with that. So the logic is that, like, whenever there's darkness, there's ought to be some dirt, and uh, so that's the logic behind it. Now I'm gonna multiply it, like I'm gonna blend it with a color, with this uniform color, so that we can always choose the overall roughness of this, right? Right. Awesome. um we can also we can put a levels to it. Actually, we should. So I can try to plug this and see what happens. So I'm gonna enable the roughness in the material, and we're gonna put this here, right? Now we're gonna see some specular here, and that's easily adjustable with this. Cool. So that's pretty much all we wanted here. Now you can really go an extra step here, and uh, you can turn off the video now if you want, but I'm gonna go that extra step right now. So this is made up of strands, and so a lot of times those the threads break and they fall on the carpet. So we will have kind of threads here and there, right? So I'm gonna try to make that. So let's take a strand, Similarly, which we made for the actual thick strand. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna put it like really thin, or I can make it really small. Yeah. Gonna warp it, multi-directional warp. Berlin. Something like that. Something like that. So the Berlin noise is kind of big only, and it's affecting the intensity. And so I'm gonna put a tile sampler, and let's see how that looks. So I'm gonna put a pattern input here, and so we have those, but they are like absolute, and I'm gonna really increase the amount for this. So let's do 200 by 200, and I'm gonna randomize scale. I'm gonna randomize position totally. I'm gonna randomize rotation totally, and I'm also I'm gonna like add uh randomness to the color of this, so that some strands are below and some strands are above, and so that mask random, that's a good thing as well. But I think still it's too thick, so let me try to change that, because strands are supposed to be like, these are like threads. So and that's getting close. Hmm. Okay, I think we can use this, and let's see what happens. So I'm gonna put a dot here. I'm gonna call this lone strands or lone threads. We could have just called it threads. I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna blend it. I'm gonna put it to screen. Let's see what happens. Dot. Where is it? Yeah. So these threads, like this is what I wanted basically. Kind of have that extra, um, and I'm also going to screen that here. Like I'm gonna affect it, let it affect the color as well. Blend. Um, dot thread. And I'm gonna make them the color of the background. So, the background, I'm gonna give it a dot called PG color. I'm going to call that here. I'll put that here. Okay, that gives us a look of look that like the carpet is kind of old and the strands are kind of everywhere. So that helps the blending, but I think it's a bit too much. Could reduce it. All right, that's it. And today we have marked the end of another one of our procedural creations. And today is special because we have crossed the first milestone of 500 subs. So thank you so much for that. I'll see you in the next one. We'll keep creating and I'll keep coming back with new things. So thanks again. Bye.